I like to call myself a perspective trainer. In April of 2005, my oldest daughter, I'm a mother of 5, Janae was diagnosed with leukemia. That very first day that we were outside her room, having been given this news, I heard that internal voice that's wiser than me, that's really not me, that's leading me with a gentleness and a love and a courage. That voice said to me the only way Janae was going to get through it was to find the one good thing when it was surrounded by bad. And I'm in a place now where I can't even use the word bad, because I know that wrapped in that bad is a gift and something that can be used for good. That voice wasn't just saying that it's the only way Janae was going to get through it was to find the one good thing. It was the only way I was going to get through it, because the world's report is Janae lost her battle with cancer. And because of what I've learned, I say that she crossed the finish line a victor. That worldly report is not always accurate. And if we can scale back with this perspective that I've learned and that I'm blessed to have, that allows me to go through life with a strength and a joy I never knew before, it's what we all need to get through whatever it is, the adversity and the challenges that life throws our way on a daily basis. I watched Janae cross her finish line, her eternal finish line, a victor, and I'm passionate about helping others pass their finish line or cross their finish line in victory on a daily basis, so that when we do cross that final finish line, it is victorious. And we get to is all about rephrasing and repositioning ourselves with the perspective that allows us to see, even in the burden, we are being blessed, and how we can go about paying that forward. People often ask me, have I always been this way? And the answer would be no. When I was gifted that idea to find the one good thing when it was surrounded by bad, what I ended up realizing is so many of my life experiences had been affected by me finding the one flaw when it was surrounded by so much good. Having done a 180 and having the comparison of the way it was before to focus on the flaw, and now to find the one good thing and how empowering that is, it allows me on a daily basis to assist others in crossing that finish line. I often refer to it as a workout for the gratitude and perspective muscle. And any muscle, if you've worked out and had strong lean muscles, you know if you stop working it, it atrophies and it weakens. And so life continues to give us on a daily basis workouts for our perspective and our gratitude. And we can choose, just like at the gym or any other workout, to show up for it and to push through it or not. There is no opportunity or instance that's too big or too small for it to apply to make you stronger. As we're being challenged with bridges and more traffic, that we don't have to wait in traffic. We don't have to cross the river. We get to. Janae's example was, I don't have to get chemo. I get to. Not everyone has a diagnosis. Not everyone has a hope for a cure that has a diagnosis. Not everyone has insurance or a hospital. And so we went from this one day feeling like victims and burdened by the chemo to embrace it then as a gift and an opportunity that not everyone had. My largest example of applying the get to in my life was when we were planning her funeral. And I kept hearing in my head, I have to bury my baby. And it's very natural and it's okay. We get to allow those emotions to move. I heard a wonderful man say that emotion is energy in motion. There is no good or no bad. You need to allow that energy to move. However, I know the empowerment and the strength, and I wanted to feel differently than what I was at the time. And when I said in prayer, I know there's a get to, please help me find it, almost immediately I heard that internal voice say, you don't have to put her body in the ground. You get to release her spirit into heaven. And only one woman in all the world gets to do that as her mother. And it left. The heaviness and the sorrow left, and it was replaced with gratitude and joy that, Dr. Seuss says, don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened. And I truly could smile that that child's life happened, and only one person got to be her mother, and it was me, and be so grateful for it. I use quotes and inspiration all the time, and Zig Ziglar said, motivation, people say motivation doesn't last. Well, neither does bathing. That's why it's recommended daily. And so what I want to offer you today is a daily practice of finding the get-tos in your life. And every time that you're feeling stressed or worked up or anxious about something you feel you have to do, to ask yourself, is that true? And reframe it with a get-to, because someone would love to get to do that very thing that we're complaining about having to do. And you could think of something right now that you're not wanting to do and it feels like a burden, and reframe it with a get to, and then see it as a blessing, and the whole experience change. I often have people ask me or send me messages that have a friend or a family member who has just been given news that's life-changing with a chronic or acute diagnosis. And there are a few things that I like to offer as things you may or may not do from my personal experience. One of those things would be to not say, "I understand," and give your comparison that your grandmother was diagnosed or your husband. I tell people, even if another mother had a daughter diagnosed at the age of 12 on the same day as Janae, and we were at the hospital at the same times, we still could not say to each other, "I understand," completely in a way that is the gift and the intention that we want. It just doesn't have that effect. It's always about mindfulness of the words that we speak, and knowing that the smallest comment of support could be the biggest gift of the day for that person. Follow their lead. If you have a family or a coworker, it's awkward, you don't know what to say, they'll let you know if they want to talk about that particular instance, or if they want to just feel like a normal person and talk about normal day-to-day things. Don't underestimate the gift of a card, or bringing them a cup of coffee, or inviting them to lunch and just having normal conversation. I read a book by Jill Bolte Taylor that's called Stroke of Insight. And in that book, and through her learning curve in that classroom that was life-altering for her, she says we're responsible for the energy that we bring to a space. And so I would say the most positive, wonderful gift that you could bring without even offering it as such is to bring positive energy into that person's space. They've got a lot of internal dialogue going on and a lot of stress in areas that you are not. And if you could just be mindful of not complaining, that's another thing. When you're going through something as grand and looking at maybe mortality, and people are complaining about minor things just because it's habit in our society to do that. If you could be mindful of not doing that in front of a person that's dealing with an illness, that's a huge gift in itself. Ask yourself if what you're saying and what you're doing is contributing to the space around you and the experience, or if it's contaminating it. Complaints are contaminating. You find strength in doing for others what you might not do for yourself. In days that I'm not feeling like a victor, that I am not really strong in pushing through the gratitude or the perspective workout, when I know that somebody out there needs the message that I get to share with them, or the example that I get to be for them, there's always someone climbing a bigger mountain than we are. And we can find, when we look, those people climbing those bigger mountains that are successful and winning in their climb. And I could be that person for someone, that they would measure my mountain as bigger, and I want to give them the example and the testimony that it is possible to make it. And that fuels me when I feel like I'm running on low or empty, to get out there and be what I can be for the sake of someone else. And it always ends up blessing me. So quick to try to make a short video to empower you and bless you for your day, but I hope this is a great start, that there are seeds that are being planted in these last few minutes, and maybe at a workshop that you're attending where this is being shared, that it not only makes a difference in your day and inspires you for today, but inspires you for a lifetime of tomorrows. and allows you to pay forward what I'm very passionate about paying forward, which is there is a gift in everything. It's just not always wrapped in an attractive package. And every burden that we feel is a have to, we can embrace as a blessing and a get to if we make that choice.